All right. Well, again, good morning, all. I'm Ron, and I really genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be here to share with you. Bill, thank you for the amazing words. The story, it just really every time I hear it, it brings inspiration. The book, that is, part of what I'm hoping to do here is share and give a little inspiration going forward. And I'll tell you, one of the inspirations in finding purpose, the now what, is you got to read the book, right? and that's the first step. But again, I'm Ron, and thank you for this time, James. Thank you so much for your fellowship through the years, for your ministries, for your commitment to to just being part of the journey together, seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the day-to-days, navigating it, for all the sausage making. Yes, we get to do a lot of that, and just such an honor to be here. I'm with a little group called BESThq. It's a collaborative business community in Beaverton. If you haven't heard of it, we're just about elevating the quadruple bottom line. And for those of you who don't know, that is people, profit, planet, and purpose through enterprise development. That is the organization. It's a professional, it's like a business association, much like the Christian Chamber, but a little broader in terms of public facing, in terms of how we're sharing this, connecting and building and growing, and trying ultimately to make a difference together via enterprise development or through the marketplace. So that is the organization. With that, I think I've been blessed better than I deserve. A colleague of mine used to sit across the way when I was at Hoffman. I was an operations manager there. Cade was his name. And I said, "How you doing, Cade?" And then he said, "Better than I deserve. And God's given me another great day." And really that's how I feel, how I got to be here. God's been great. And part of that is I've had a fairly simple career. I retired. I was in the Navy after attending Santa Clara University, which is a Jesuit university and one of the 28 Jesuit institutions. And good Irish Catholics would be proud of the Jesuits and their approach that really shaped and as I was going through my career, helped me bring forward and get clarity on who I am and what I'm doing. After Santa Clara, I was in the Navy. I had the privilege of working as a Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer. Did that, went around the world a few times and, deployed and all that good stuff. Ultimately settled down, had three daughters, beautiful, amazing kids, and have been blessed with an incredible wife, dog, house, all that good stuff. And through the Navy career, decided, hey, I needed to settle down, came here to Portland over 20 years ago, worked for a little company you may have heard of called Hoffman Construction. They've built about a third of Portland's skyline. They're Oregon's largest general contractor, commercial general contractor for the last 30 years or so. Just a wonderful organization. I had the joy of being an operations manager and running some pretty mega projects. And then about 16 years ago, opted to step away and kind of really focus a bit more as a coach consultant, working to optimize opportunities for small businesses. And that's really how I kind of got to this place with BESThq. It's a community extension of coaching, consulting, helping firms and individuals grow. And through that, I've had this wonderful opportunity to kind of say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And how do we live our day? How do we get to bring purpose forward. And I'm gonna bring two stories of physical healing forward further recently to you to help with that, and then connect it back to spiritual growth and health. And then at the end, we'll keep you on time here. We're gonna activate, we're gonna go forward, and we're gonna say, now what? Now what do I do? What do you do? How do we go from here? Bill did an amazing job of providing a framework around purpose, but ultimately all of us, we ask, what am I doing here? Why? What? I've been given this day, this breath. Did I use it right? You know, through all of that, the house, the car, the kids, so many blessings that I've had. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right, God? What am I doing here? And ultimately, what's it all about? So with that, the two stories of health, one involves my daughter. So again, 3 daughters. Oldest is 29 now, and the youngest is 20. And the other is about my dad. And both involve health, the physical health, and ultimately that kind of rocks a lot of our cores. I think we'll ask God, like, you know, a lot of times. I think it was Mike. We were talking a week or so ago. It talked about reasons people pray. It's like, just if I could just, God, just feel better, right? You know, my foot, my head, my dog, whatever. Just get this health thing sorted out. So we can often feel a lot of our person in those health moments. So my first on my daughter, she's again now 29, my oldest. Her name is Tiffany. She's 29 now. When she was 25, just after 25, just a little bit south of here. So we're at the Collective in Tigard, right? She worked for a company in Lake Oswego, and it was a Monday morning, and she'd gone to work. She lived a little bit north of here, actually about a mile north of here in Tigard. And so we're literally between where she was when this happened. She had gone to work as she would any other day. It was a Monday morning, and she was an English major at Gonzaga, and also had a systems sub minor. She was working for a tech company down the road, and doing great, amazing project management type good stuff. And my wife got a call, and the call was from my daughter. And my daughter said, "Mom, something's not right. Something's not right. I don't feel right." And what she was experiencing was a stroke. She had what the doctors called a major minor. Felt pretty major to me. Somehow, miraculously, and with the grace of God, she drove herself home. She didn't really remember being able to do that. My wife, we lived just north of here, got in the car, said, something's wrong. Got to her house, brought her to ER, and it was a stroke. And she, the way it manifested itself was in her ability to talk, or her ability to, she again, English major, and without going into too much detail, she didn't know my name after it. She knew I was somebody important. Like, yeah, that guy. But she didn't know my name, and she had lost all of her letters, all of her words, ability. She couldn't open up her cell phone because the numbers didn't mean anything to her. So you might guess we were a little rocked with this situation, and it's easy in those moments to say, like, why is this happening to this? And I'll tell you, Tiffany, she is hands down the nicest person I know. And I'm not exaggerating as his father. She literally will catch a fly and escort it out of the house, not to kill the fly. And she has. She's a wonderful creation, a gift of God. And through it, I'm looking at her and watching her go through this and thinking, how does this work in a plan, right? All right, help me out, Lord. How am I supposed to figure out what's this all about? And the simple takeaway I had from that experience was she showed grace like I'd never seen before. Never. It was my kid, right? She's 25, and she's like living grace in front of me. And I was in awe. I'm like, it reminds me of 2 Corinthians, a favorite of mine, actually before that, and it was brought it forward. 2 Corinthians 10, 7-10. I'm sure many know the thorns in the side and God's grace being sufficient. That's the quick on it. Just it was all that was all I needed, was to see her through this, and it was. And it was amazing. We've been blessed with a great recovery for her. She's 98%. I mean, you can tell it, maybe a little bit less, I don't know, but she's fully functional. She's married now and lives in Salem, and just really this manifestation of grace, but gives us the opportunity to say, why God? Why are you doing this? And how in that moment, as a father, as a parent, we work hard to invest in our children and our relationships and our work, and ultimately this one piece of her person, her brain, in which we literally invest thousands in education. Day to day, we read stuff, we stick stuff in here, and then all of a sudden, it's like hit the reset button on your computer, and you're asked, what are we doing here? What's our purpose through all of this? How, if I'm spending so much time, effort, energy making money, or getting the next deal, or doing even paying for something that ultimately is going to get erased, right? What am I doing here? So that gives us an idea about purpose and how what we're doing, and how it's relative. So the second health story. So again, I'm picking up some of my spiritual journey on the way. The second health story happened, well, it sort of started about a few months ago. My dad, who I've been privileged to have shared the name, his name is Ron as well. He was 77. And in October of this year, beginning of October, he was walking his typical 10,000 steps a day. He and my mom were retired on the coast, living what they've worked for a retirement, pandemic filled, of course, the last couple of years. But he was diagnosed with AML leukemia, October 25th. Gout flared up. This is pain. Talk about pain. This was pain in his knees, in his joints. It's like crystals coming together and just kind of crashing. And he was unable to walk as a result, just in this extraordinary pain, and then ultimately again diagnosed with AML leukemia. So for those of you who know anything about a leukemia, it's a blood cancer. And the AML kind is, well, one of the worst, if not the worst. I remember sitting in with the doctor. I did a little bit of crash studying when I heard that was the diagnosis, and she presented it, and I said, "Are you sure it's not like the chronic leukemia type?" And she said, "No, it's acute AML, acute myeloid leukemia." And what that means is it goes in quick. And without going through extraordinary detail, I'll share. That was October 25th of 2021. And on January 2nd of 2022, God said, "Dad, time is now." And he left with Jesus. And I'm confident of that. And I'm confident because despite this extraordinary pain that he felt, I watched it in his eyes. It was I could share the stories of the time, which were extraordinary. For the sake of this time, I won't. But I'll say it was really most clearly the pain was demonstrated by the fact that the day that Mom and I took him to the hospital for the last time, he had 3 visits to ER and then ultimately back home for hospice. It was over an hour to go down 14 steps. Down. 3 of us helping him. And basically the last few steps, I was carrying him. A lot of pain. But through it all, my takeaway was an amazing story of love and spirit. Because through it all, I didn't see this coming. I am not smart enough to plan this out. So God scripted this one, and it was awesome. Is that Dad wrote this love story through the end, and it was awesome to witness. It was such a privilege. As he showed his love through it all, that's all you saw, love and peace. He wasn't, and he was a character, very much a out there guy. He was a salesman by trade, and he was good, and he was jovial. He was always out there working and talking to people. And at the end, he was in perfect peace, and you can feel the love that came out of it. And through it, one quick story that I had the privilege of witnessing. I was there. We picked him up from the cancer center. He was going through a blood transfusion. This was many visits back and forth. It was a difficult time. But one time a priest or a minister came in, and then later a priest, and he told a story of a dream in which he saw Christ, and it was connected back. It was the only one that he had in his life that he really vividly remembered, and he connected it back to his dad. And at the end of the time, the priest looks at Dad, and I was like, you're there, you're good, you're like, you got the ticket. And my dad's like, whoa, yeah. And the priest looks at my dad and he said, thank you for ministering to me. And my dad was still alive after that story. And to see that and to feel it and to be part of it for me says, wow, God, you're amazing. Through that pain, through that physical suffering, we can grow spiritually. And then of course my world was rocked as a small business owner. and I was there with Mom through a lot of the last few months. My sister, I have a sister, wonderful sister. She lives in San Jose, down south. So of course James knows my world was turned upside down as you're trying to kind of manage through this. And then of course, again, I got to ask why, what's going on here? And most importantly, I got to see this spirit and love and angels alive. And being able to have the eyes wide open through it was just such a gift, which I'm so grateful. Yet at the end and through it, I have to ask, okay, now what next? What for me? What do I do or not do? And tie it back to my purpose, his purpose, honoring him. And so again, through these physical trials, we get this spiritual opportunity. And for me, it was just about discerning, through it all, just asking God, what's the plan? What's the message? Where do I go? What do I do here? And trusting in him along the way. So James also knows that that this time of year, so the fall winter time of year, is an important time for the BESThq community, because there's a lot of planning in front of the event we call BizExpo West, which I had the privilege of having Bill, one of our speakers last year, and James. There's a great video that Bill shares his story that I'd invite folks to check out. It's on their YouTube channel, and he tells that story, and we all get to virtually to be a part of it together. So I'll invite y'all to check that out. But in the moment with all of that happening with Dad and the pandemic and business and this, that, it's like, again, you step back and say, why? What's the purpose? And what's my purpose? And honestly, the easy thing to do when you have somebody who leaves our physical world is to pull back and to kind of get in and get in your little comfort space. But again, we had this big event that was planned, this business expo at the B2B trade show. It features hundreds of people, business relationships, and many of you have been on the floor, and there's a lot that goes to that. And I'm saying, really, okay, do we really need to do this, or do I just go to Aruba, call it good? Which was an option. I got taking care of Mom and everything else, and I just threw it on the table. I'm like, all right, God, what do you want me to do? How do we navigate this? And among other things, James and I prayed, and ultimately I came back to one other caveat. If y'all didn't know, for those of you who know me, I'm actually very much an introvert. I'm an engineer by license and degree. My professional focus is in building stuff. And that's a lot of the technical side. So standing up in front of folks and talking and all that is like, you know, that's not what I would normally, my preferred place to be as I understand myself. So to put on a several hundred person trade show with now the virtual elements and everything else and getting all the business development going, it's like, you know, the last thing that I want to do, straight up. And I said, well, God, what do you want me to do? And I heard him say, you need to do this. You need to keep going. James gave us the theme for this year, staying true in 22. And I'll tell you, it's been a blessing. It's been all that, you know, there's been a lot of energy that's coming, but a lot of good and a lot of God that's coming out of it. So that'll be April 7th. We're kind of super deep in it now, but that is all about elevating purpose in the marketplace. So as we wrap here, and I'm just going to ask you, now what? Now what? Bill did a great job of giving us those 5 keys. If you've been rocked something in your world, be it in the family or business, you now have the tools to figure out your purpose, kind of where you're doing. But now what? What are you going to do to actually bring that into the real, the today, the now? So with that, we have a little homework opportunity. And so the 5 keys that my notes here from Bill, anybody want to help us with the 5 keys? Because I know y'all were taking notes, right? Right. And Bill, you can't answer the 5 keys. All right. Number 1, I'll help you out. Purpose, and then mission and goals, value and vision. Those are the 5 keys. So I'll ask you to really sit into your purpose. Try to figure out between now and next month when we come back together, what is your purpose? And starting with that item of passion, which we were talking about right at the break, right? Figure out your passions and then work the other elements around aptitude and experience. But for the report out, and this is the homework, and we're not going to scare y'all away because everybody's going to come back, right? I can hear James saying, Ron, nobody came back because you gave them a homework. Is just one. You can do more than one, but everybody share a goal. And as Bill mentioned, specific. Make them SMART goals, right? Many of you've heard those: specific, measurable, realistic, attainable, realistic, and timely. There's different variations on it, but the key part is that we identify the measurable piece that gets us towards our purpose. And we're going to have an opportunity to share that. We're going to go around and we're going to share some of our goals. And what we found is that when we help verbalize or write down, right, that whole how we're connecting things, things written, things spoken, there's an accountability and a realization that often comes with that. So, all right, are we good with that? We get to come back? Yeah. Thanks, Rob.